Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You could get involved with today's topic by calling 800-411-2663, 800-411-BOND. You can also email me, bond@bondinfo.org, bond@bondinfo.org, and put your name and town, your emails about today's topic. And good morning to everybody here.
Good morning.
Thank you guys for showing up. That is cool. I am. I have an email that I need to read about last Sunday's meeting, and then get into today's topic. And so, did anybody have any questions about last Sunday's meeting? No? Oh, good. So I guess everybody that was here agreed that of that spiritual order, right? And what we talked about is the wife becoming the daughter to her husband after a while. She no longer become a wife, but she is the daughter. You disagree with that?
Yes.
Okay, and why?
Well, I don't have children, so I don't know. I just, like for my mom and dad, that I don't think my mother became my father's daughter.
Oh, she didn't?
No.
Is she still living?
No.
Oh. And so because she did not become that way, you don't think it should be that way?
No, I think they co-parent, and I think God created a woman to be the helpmate for the husband.
Right.
And to help in raising the children. But, you know, women bring in children in the world, and without women, there would be no man.
Have you noticed that once a couple is married, that the husband has to teach the wife in the same manner that he's teaching his children? It's like she is a little girl that needs to be taught.
No.
You ever noticed that?
No.
I bet your husband has. Have you noticed that?
Oh,
See?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, uh-huh.
Just agree. No, because, like, I have a girlfriend that went to, you know, they're both educated, and they both bring different assets to the marriage.
Right.
So they teach each other. Like, one knows how to cook, you know, well, and one knows how, you know, more about finances.
Well, he doesn't teach her those type things, how to cook or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe he does. I mean, in the sense that he may tell her how he like his meal done.
Well,
but
no,
he
I
teaches
just,
her.
like, they both love cooking. So one doesn't know how to cook as well as the other.
Yeah. But the husband teaches his wife and children about life and how to deal with life and how to see how to make right decisions without being seduced by the world. He's patient with his wife in the same manner he is with his daughters or children, because women tend to make wrong decisions.
Well, I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I mean, my mom and dad raised us, and my mom stayed home with us before we went to like first grade.
Right.
So she had a lot of wisdom that in parenting that my dad didn't. My dad wasn't he was hands-on for parenting, but there was a lot of wisdom my mom had in dealing with children that he didn't have.
Oh, well, that's probably why he wasn't able to, you know, teach it in the right way, as though he's teaching his daughters, because he didn't have it from his father.
I think like my mom was born like in 1920, so I think parents back then died a lot sooner, at least for my mom and dad. Both their parents died when they were like 10.
Oh, man.
So
oh,
they
okay.
didn't see,
That's
I mean, they
why
were adopted by the family, of course, where they
Yeah.
saw other role models. But, you know, it's just, I think it's different.
Right.
You know?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Do you agree with that about the daughter becoming
Yes.
the wife becoming the daughter of the husband after a while?
Yes.
You do? And why do you agree?
I don't know. I've seen it, and I think that's the role that the husband, father should take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, because there's things that they see that that a woman wouldn't see.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
protective thing. It's just,
Yeah.
I've gotten that, but it's been with anger.
Right.
I'm not going along with it, but if it was told to me in a different way, like, be careful of this, you know,
Without that anger.
without the anger.
Yes, you can't teach a person when you have anger. You can't teach them truth and the right way
Right.
when you're like that.
But I was able to see the truth later on, once I dismissed the anger,
Right.
when a man was trying to tell me,
Yeah. Ernest, you had your hand?
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with what you were saying, and that I think in is it Monica's situation? When you say he wasn't a hands-on parent, do you mean as far as discipline, or did he still guide the family as far as making sound decisions, and because he can still be influential on the family and have an impact on the family, even though he's not there being a hands-on. So I'm just wondering where was he lacking?
Well, I think I have 4 brothers and sisters, and so there's 5 in our family, and I'm the youngest.
Uh-huh.
So my mom was like 42 when she had me, which was old in those days. So I see videotapes or tapes of like family movies of when my brothers and sisters were younger, and my dad was like involved in, like pushing them on the swings and a lot of life activities that I guess I kind of missed out on because
Yeah.
I was the last one. So I see that he was really involved.
Right.
I think he was older when obviously I came around, and so he was tired, I guess. But he always worked, he always hugged us and told us he loved us. But I'm saying like day-to-day decisions.
Right.
My mom like took over the house as far as, cleaning and cooking and organizing us. So I don't think he lacked, they just had different roles, and they came together in their roles, but protection, etc., was, like, of course, my father's
Yeah.
role. But kind of my mom was the spiritual one who brought us to church and stuff.
Can you imagine yourself becoming a daughter like to your husband?
Daughter in the protective role, yeah, but,
And spiritually guiding you as well?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let me just read this email. This is from Herman out of somewhere.
Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He said that, I know that the Spirit of God works through the father, parentheses, husband, to the daughter, parentheses, wife, and to the children, as explained in today's service, referring to last Sunday. The wife as a daughter is a perfect way to describe marriage relationships. I have tried to explain the husband/wife relationship to my oldest son, who has been feminized over time by his controlling wife. He thinks he is being a good husband by allowing her to have this controlling spirit. I can't wait to fire off this perfect ammo learned today. That explains his responsibility toward her. He knows that I would not allow it with his mother, but one only needs to understand that he went to college where he learned worldly things, and that's where they get all that stuff from. Well, first they don't get the example in the home, and then when they go off to school, the schools are switching the relationships. They're switching the role of man and woman. And it's really wicked to see that happening, because as they weaken the man, then the world falls apart. And so I think that's why a lot of couples today would not surrender to that spiritual order of God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. But when you really stand back and look at relationship without judgment, you see that the wife is like a daughter to her husband, in that he has to, he should, spiritually protect her and guide her and correct her, because she's very emotional, and it's hard for her to make or see and do the right thing. As a matter of fact, that's why when the enemy want to come in, he destroys the man first, destroy the head of the woman, so that he can get in and deceive her and guide her in the wrong direction. And we knew this at one time, but it's not being talked about or taught today. So you don't really hear it. And then when someone comes along and say, hey, you're out of order, you think that person hate women or, or whatever, because the ego doesn't want that order to be there. But we got to talk about that order so that men and women can come back to order.
Yeah, I agree that should be the order. I just think that women have had to stand up in like when the husband doesn't take the spiritual head, like when I was, in my family, my father didn't say, okay, let's get up and go to church. My mom would say that, and, we drag him along.
Right.
So what's the mother supposed to do? Just not go to church or not have the kids go to church if the father doesn't take the lead?
That's a good question. What should a mother do when the father refuses to take the lead?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I really don't know.
What do you think, Kelly? Well, hold on. Let me ask this young lady first. Yes, but what do you think the mother should do if the father is not taking the lead?
Well, somebody has to lead, so she has to do what she can to encourage him to take the lead. If he refuses, then she has to take the lead.
Yeah. And, yes, Kelly.
I think first she should bring it up with her husband privately, and maybe tell him what it's doing to her when he doesn't take the lead, because I think that would inevitably lead to some sort of resentment within the woman and say something
Yeah.
like, I don't want to hate you, but, you refusing to take the lead is causing problems for the children.
Yeah. She should be honest with her husband, but not hate him, so that she doesn't take the lead.
Well, I think he felt cheated in life by God because his parents got taken away so early, and she got over that. So,
But he didn't.
but he didn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, as long as she doesn't hate him for his weakness, then she'll be okay, because she would not take the lead.
right.
But she would be an example of what he should become, and eventually being that way without hating him could cause him to become that way,
Right.
because that's
Yeah.
what love is.
Yeah, she had a big influence on
Yeah.
him, and he really missed her when she died first.
Right.
And
Yeah, I bet.
he became a Christian before he died.
Oh, good.
before he-
If you want to know what it looked like when a woman take the lead because the man won't, look at the black community. We have a physical example of what can happen when women take the lead. It's in a state of emergency right now, in all areas, because women took the lead, but they led us straight to hell.
They
that-
didn't forgive the weakness in men.
Right, exactly.
It's
It's-
okay if you have to take the lead as long as you forgive the weakness in men. And
As long as you don't hate them, that's right,
Right.
because you'll be guided then by love, and you'll guide the family in the right way,
Right.
rather than guiding them to hell.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Anger.
But it's hard for women to do that because they don't understand how to overcome that, and not all women, but most. And then there's no one around who would tell them how to overcome it, because men are afraid to tell women the truth. I was on the airplane yesterday, one day, I think it was Thursday. Today is Sunday, right? Yeah, Thursday. And so we landed in New York. You know how they pull up to the gate and they finally shut the plane down. So it kind of a little quiet. People getting off. So I got on my cell phone and I said, I told you to stop arguing with your wife. I said, men should not argue with women because they take your life that way. They'll kill you.
and the whole plane hurt.
And I said, what else did I say? And then it said, but it sounded like the person said, well, I'm not married to a black woman, right? And so I said, well, it's not, it doesn't matter the color of the woman. They're all like that. And man, you could just feel the tension in the plane. The guy was like afraid, they were like laughing under their breath. And women rolling their eyes. I mean, it was like you could cut through the tension.
Yeah.
And so there was a guy sitting next to me who didn't know me, of course. And I said, and he was like laughing, like quietly laughing, right? And I said, do you agree with me, man? I said, aren't they all crazy? And he said, I can't argue that point. But I realized how afraid, when it comes to dealing with women and what's really going on, how afraid men are about that. And they're afraid because they don't know how to handle that anger that's going to come out of the woman when you tell the truth like that. It was like, even when I got ready to get my bag out of the holder there, it's like everybody party, like the water party. And I was in the whole aisle by myself. Yeah, it was like, wow. It was amazing to see that.
But I think you also have to understand that, like put yourself in the woman's place. So let's say you got married, you just, ruined your figure, you had a couple kids,
You ruin your what?
figure,
Oh,
which are important to women.
Right.
And I mean, this is the way I thought about it growing up. I mean, you like give your whole life to this man, and maybe you should be like giving it to Christ, and then man second, you know what I mean? Like him the focus versus man.
Well, when you give it to your husband, your life, you are giving it to Christ.
Right.
When you
But
respect
then,
him.
I mean, what I saw growing up is you see these men, white, black, didn't matter, cheating on the wife,
Yeah.
totally crashing their world.
Yeah,
Here I
that's
gave
a- yeah.
everything for you. And they left, and even if you didn't have anger, but the woman had to learn to be the man and the woman by
Yeah.
necessity.
Well, she's not learning to be a man. She can never
Well,
learn.
no, but you know what I mean.
And I hear
Be
that
the
phrase
head of
a
the
lot.
household.
Yeah, to run the house. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen to a wife, there are many worse things, but when they cheat on him, a man should never, ever, ever, but it's like Christ cheating on
Just
me.
say, I want to get divorced, okay?
Right.
Then
Yeah.
we'll talk through things and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But, I mean, I saw that
You're
happen
totally
over
right.
and over again, and I think that's why I didn't have children, because I know it's going to happen. They're, my husband's
Yeah.
going to leave me, and then I'm going to be stuck with this disaster that I've seen happen over and over and over.
Right.
Again, my parents, it didn't happen to.
Yeah,
But-
your husband didn't cheat on your father did not cheat on
No.
your mother. Oh, good.
No.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen, but I saw, like, their friends.
Did someone cheat on you?
No,
So you've never been cheated on.
no.
So you just have this fear of it because you've seen it happen to your friends?
Yeah, I just see, like,
Oh,
and my mother's friends, I mean, and, like, my girlfriend's parents, I saw it happen a lot, too.
oh.
Like,
But it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you, though.
no, but I just thought, wow, you put everything in that, and it's a big risk. That's what it taught me subconsciously.
Oh, I see.
Yes. It's like, wow, it's just, you give everything to that relationship, and at any minute, it could just explode.
That's why it's good to let God add a man unto you
Yeah.
rather than going out looking for a man.
Exactly.
And a lot of women look for men and they choose the wrong one.
I've done that, too.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yes, Doug.
We have an email from a listener named Pat. He says, taking kids to church is not an example of leadership.
It's a good point. Good point.
Well, yeah, I guess so, but when I was growing up, it was taught that way. But my
Yeah.
father was a good leader in, his work ethic. He always provided for us. He always protected us. He disciplined us.
I think the reason that a lot of women take their children to church is because they don't have a husband that they can trust in, and they're looking for help. And unfortunately, they go to church and the preach is weak. But they're really looking for help in how to deal with life, how to deal with their children. They're not getting it for the most part. But I think that's why a lot of women, because I noticed that the moment I popped out of my mother's womb, the next day I was sitting up in a church. We were from the hospital. Well, I was born at home though, but we were from the home to the church. I don't ever remember not going to church.
Well, maybe there's no one left at home to babysit you, so you had to go to church.
That may have been a part of it too. But yes, sir.
As a small boy, I had three brothers. When we grew up in Detroit, my dad took us to church. We went to Sunday school, and my father was the superintendent of Sunday school.
Yeah.
We went to Sunday school, and then after Sunday school, we went to church, and we sat next to our dad in church. And sometimes my mom went, but sometimes she didn't. And then with my daughter, as I started raising my daughter, my daughter came to church and every Sunday, and my ex-wife, she's my wife then, she was actually an AME preacher then. She was preaching then, and so our daughter came to church every Sunday, and all the other kids there. So I thought it was a really growing up in the church, I've always thought it was a positive way to help guide and
Yeah.
help make sure.
It is good. I like it too if the father, it seemed to me more if the father take their kids to church. For some reason there's something else, there's strength in that or something. because you're with your Father, you know. So I think, and it is important to go to church. It's good to do it, to have that fellowship, to learn. But the problem is the preachers are not telling the truth anymore. You know, in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, the preachers, for the most part, told the truth. So church had a different meaning.
Right.
And it doesn't have that same meaning anymore. Because I look at, in my community, you know, the black community, for example, everybody and their mama go to church. But look how messed up everybody. They're getting worse instead of getting better. So it's just not working.
Well, either that or they could be telling the truth and it just isn't going in and coming out of their life. The walk in life isn't illustrating what they've learned. They haven't digested what they've learned. They haven't put it into action.
Well, they read the Bible to you, and then they quote the scriptures. So they're saying what's in the Bible, but it doesn't have any meaning to it. It doesn't have any life in it. It's just like going to college and learning that 2 + 2 is 4, but it doesn't give you life. And so a lot of the preachers are just reading the Bible. They learn the Bible, come back and read it to you, and that's what the people are getting, and that's why you don't see a real change happening. Now, some people are stubborn anyway. Even if Jesus Christ walked in and laid truth on them, they won't get it. So you do have that going on too, and I don't want to deny that. But I have, I've had a truckload of these preachers on my radio show, and I just had one on Friday, on Thursday, out of Detroit. A major preacher in Detroit, black guy. And the guy just lost. He associated the mayor, Kirkpatrick, who was in jail, in prison, a thug, a criminal. In his sermon, he put him in the same category as Dr. King and Gandhi and people like that in the church.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In the
There are
church.
churches that I've been to that.
But he's a doctor, he's a reverend doctor, so-and-so and so-and-so. And he has one of those major churches there in Detroit. And so I'm having this guy on my show, and he just all lies. All lies, all in the name of Jesus. But he knows the Bible.
What does he say when you catch him and when you confront him on the lie?
I'm judging.
Challenge him?
You tell me not to judge. Don't judge.
He has no responsibility to tell the truth.
And then they start comparing me to Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and the smartest white man on this side of heaven. But it's amazing to see this happening. And it's happening all over the country. And people don't see what's happening. It's just mind-blowing to me to see it.
Well, God says, towards the end of time, there'll be a lot of false prophets.
Yeah.
You need to test it against His Word.
But it's so amazing how blind the people are. People are literally blind. I mean, just blind. And everywhere I go now, I see it more and more and more and more and more. And I'll give you an example of that in a minute. But did I see your hand, Frankie, a while back?
It passed.
It passed? Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Could it be, I may have said this before, but could it be possible people, majority of the people on this planet want to be blind, want to see things the way they want to, and not...
That's a good question. If they want to be blind. I don't think they want to. Now, of course, some people want to live in their hell. They love their pleasures and, they love the things that are wrong and they don't want to be awakened. They love it. But I think a lot of people want to wake up. I think they want what's right. It's just that, it's hard to find that right person to bring it to them with love that would awaken them. Because I noticed that when you talk to some people, they're like, yeah, that makes sense. But for some reason, because they're sin, they weren't able to see it and figure it out. So a lot of people will not find it, but there are people who want to overcome that.
So it's just to find a proper guide to lead.
Yes, to wake them up, to point them to the source that awaken them. That's what's needed. Any other questions about that? Yes, Mary.
I noticed,
Would you ever be a daughter to your husband?
Did I ever know? Rebellious.
Rebellious. No.
But I noticed, like in my daughters, her husband's definitely the leader, but he does, and she, you know, acquiesces, but he has a need to get angry.
The husband.
Yeah,
The husband.
yeah,
Because a lot of men are of their mama.
yeah.
They have the nature of mama, and they can't handle their wives. They don't know how to. And that's what was so good about last Saturday's fatherhood conference, is that, and we had just, you know, all the guys there from different places. They all had the same problem. They're afraid of mama. So when they marry mama, the wife, which has the same spirit as mama, he get angry because he can't handle that spirit that's inside of her.
Yeah.
And you said you were married to a preacher woman at one time, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're not married with her now?
Well, at that time we were both preaching, but,
Oh man, wow.
and,
I'm glad you got out of that hell. I would never, ever, but never marry a preaching woman. You marry the devil.
well, she wasn't a preacher before I married. I started preaching first.
And then you let her become one?
Then she became one.
Why you didn't stop her? What was wrong with you at the time you couldn't stop her?
That was her choice.
No, but you're her head. You can say, "Get behind me, Satan." You were not able to stop her. If you had wanted to, did you want to stop her?
No, because when she started preaching, then I said, well, I made the decision that we only needed one preacher in the family, so I said, you go ahead and I'll see you. Okay.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, because I had a business that I was trying to run, and so I had to, I went back to focus on my business. So.
Yeah. So you said one preacher is enough up in here, huh?
Yes, right.
I ask a lot of preachers, men, why do you let your wives become preachers? Then they lie and say God did it. They lie on God about it. God did it. That's a cowardly way out of saying I was weak and couldn't stop her. I let her do it. They said God did it, and there's nowhere where God does that kind of stuff. He said that he's not going to change his order. He's not going to change anything. Either you get on board or you suffer. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mary.
But the point that I'm making is that she's listening to and doing whatever, but there's just the need to be mad to say,
So you're saying that she's doing what her husband asked her to do, she's being a good wife, and he's still mad at her?
Yeah, and
He's getting mad about nothing?
See, that's why we
not
don't want to
about
follow.
nothing. It's like because I had to tell you I'm mad. That. It's
So what
like,
now?
Because I had to tell you I'm mad.
I'm not getting what you're saying.
Well,
Because she didn't see what
because
she was supposed to do.
see what she was supposed to do ahead of time. It's like, well,
Oh, because he has to tell her what to
Yeah,
do.
right.
He's mad about having to tell her.
Yes.
If that's true, he's a little coward. He's a woman. If that's true. And he's not here to defend himself, but he's a woman.
No, but I mean, still, it's like if you just like coming in ordinarily and saying, oh, well, why isn't this put here? Why isn't this put here? You wouldn't need to get mad to say that.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying.
But, it's hard because he's not here to defend, or your daughter's not here either, and you're the mother to the daughter, so you may not be,
No, I'm just.
you may be stretching the truth a little bit here.
No, because I
Rebellion again.
actually say to her, listen to your husband.
Oh, good.
He's taking care of you.
Right.
He's doing all the things, and you should just go ahead and.
But there are men like that. And so what you're saying is quite possible. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I had a guy to tell me that he needed his woman to motivate him. He said that she doesn't motivate me. She doesn't encourage me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? How pathetic is that? Any man that need a woman to motivate them, who's motivating the woman that's motivating the man? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if she's going to be motivating you, who's motivating her? And why don't you get your motivation from that spot? Find out how she's being motivated. It's amazing what men put on women.
Yeah.
Men, don't put that on your wife to motivate you or your girlfriend. You bring her along. Let love motivate you. Let Christ motivate you. get rid of your anger, and then you'll be naturally motivated. A woman, you can't put that on a woman to don't. And ladies, don't even accept. If a man says to you one time, "Motivate me," you say, "All right, goodbye." I'm motivating you, all right. This relationship is over because you're going to have a heavy load to carry. Can you imagine trying to motivate a man, being a woman? Don't do that, man. And women, don't do that. Don't motivate. If you got a trifling husband, then you get out of there. Don't hang around. Yes, sir.
Most women never really would be able to become the daughters to their husbands because men never overcome the need for a woman.
Right.
As long as you have a need for a woman, your wife can never be your daughter.
That's right. And that's why men need to overcome. That's what the salvation is all about. You know, Christ said that we must be born again. And salvation is about overcoming the spirit of mama, overcoming mama and taking on the spirit of Christ, which should have been of your father, your earthly father. This is for men and women. That's what the new birth is all about. Because we come through mama, we take on her identity, we act and think like mama. But when we get old enough to start seeing that something's wrong, and this is for men and women, then you go to God and you apologize and you realize who you really are, and He would change your nature. That's what it means to be born again. And when they are of God, of that proper nature, then the wife will follow. And because women are subject to men when that order is there like that, it's like a magnet. They are subject to men, and they'll come kicking and screaming, but they will come. But when that role is the other way around, then men are subject to women, and it's nothing but hell. You just catch hell all the way. There's no good in that. That makes sense on you? Yeah. Isn't that like so sweet when you understand it? It's not a competition. It's not, the men and women are not battling with each other, trying to take on each other's role. It's just the way to do it. It's the light. It's the right way. It's love, and it works. And then the kids, you know, they receive it as it's coming down through the father, through the mother, to the kids. But when that role is reversed, we have what we have in America today.
But I think it was, the breakdown in the family started with the breakdown of the husband, because the husband wasn't taking control.
Yeah, it started with the husband.
And he was abusing, in some cases, women, or abusing his place of power or control or whatever, instead of leadership. But I want to point out that I think a really good example for this age group is John Wooden, who was, you know, the coach from UCLA. They had his memorial service on, and that place was packed. And this is a really old school guy,
Yeah.
really square.
I heard good things about him.
Awesome things.
Yeah.
Awesome role model as a father,
Yeah.
as a man, integrity, strong Christian man. Came from a farm, loved his wife.
We used to have a lot of men like that
Yeah,
prior to the last 60 years or so.
yeah.
It just started downhill. I guess they've been kind of working on men all along, but it really just went out of whack 50 to 60 years ago.
Because the
And-
role models, I think, for men went out of whack.
Yeah, their fathers were there no more. They took the fathers away. How many abortions do we have in this country overall per year? Anybody know?
No.
It's like 40 million or something like that?
Yeah.
No.
How many?
40?
Huh? Ask Ermis to come here for a minute. He should know. Is this something, do you know, Kelly?
I don't know.
All right. I was on the airplane coming from New York yesterday. I went out there. Did you guys see Sean's show? See me on Sean Friday?
Yes.
Oh, you saw it? Yeah, I went out there to do Sean Hannity's TV show on Friday. So I'm coming back, and they had this movie on called Valentine. You ever seen that?
Valentine's Day?
Valentine
I
Day.
just saw it.
Oh, you saw it? Did you like it?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, chick flick and
Right.
what kind of, but I mean, at the same time, I don't think it necessarily painted relationships in a good light.
Right, and I didn't have my headset on, so I didn't listen to the movie. I just kind of looked at it for a minute there. And in this movie, they have these young, you know, men and women jumping in and out of bed together, you know, all making quote-unquote love and just doing it all wrong. But they have it dressed up to look so enticing and make it look like it's love and make it look like it's fun and make it look as though it's the right thing to do. And I looked at that without having to, it's weird what you could get from a movie if you don't hear it. You ever watch a movie without listening to it? It's like you see the reality of what's going on. because you're not caught up with it, I guess. But I'm thinking that's evil right there. They got these attractive young people, great bodies, and it just look like love. But it all leads to sin. And the Bible said all who sin are slaves, right? And so I'm thinking how the world is seducing these young people into slavery by causing them to sin, by making sin look attractive. And then because these kids don't have fathers and mothers there to guide them in the right way, it is so easy to pull them in. And I'm thinking how wicked the adult world is, that it has no love, and that they don't feel anything about what they do to the young, about deceiving the young. It looked like adults would care about deceiving young people, because we learn from our suffering, we learn not to do what to do or what not to do. So why would we pass something else on to the next generation? And they are doing it with joy. And then these young people who are acting out in these films, they've been married 20 times. You know, they're cheating on each other. They're not happy in real life. And so they haven't realized that what they're doing is sin. Have you noticed that whenever you sin, you're a slave to sin? Anybody notice that? Yeah. Yeah, you had your hand.
Well, I don't remember the point.
Oh, okay. But that's what's happening. When I say that you're either of God or of your father, the devil, anybody here disagree with me when I say that? You're of your devil? Your father, the devil? Nobody disagree? Oh, I had some disagreeers here before. I want to read something to you, and then I want to share something about being. This is why any preacher that tells its congregation that you can be of God and still sin is a liar, and the truth is not in them. Because God said that when you sin, you're a slave to that. And for this reason, Christ came so he can set you free from sin, so that you're not a slave or subject to sin. So any preacher, and a lot of preachers are telling their congregation now, well, you can't be perfect. Even after you're born again, you do sin, and you're not going to be free until you get to heaven. So just hang out and sin, and every time you sin, get up and tell God, I'm sorry, and God is cool with that. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
It is being taught everywhere nowadays. When I was growing up, it was not taught. It was not taught that way. But now, and the reason that preachers are teaching that is because they're sinning.
Yeah.
All in the name of Jesus. So if you're sinning, naturally, you're going to tell your congregation, all right, y'all go out there this evening right after lunch, go sin, but don't forget to apologize. Because I'm going home and sin too. I'm not perfect. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that Donnie McClurkin song, we fall down, and we get up. And it's used. That saying is used so much even in our everyday people. Politicians and people that lawyers, people that sit on their wives and cheat on their wives. So we fall down, but let's forgive him because he's going.
That is so true, man.
And it gives them, everybody an opportunity. So, well, just go ahead and do what you want to do, but just don't forget to ask God to forgive you, and then you can get back up and you can go.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And I was flipping through the TV and I saw that guy singing that song. They have this thing on Sunday on the BET channel, one of those black networks, where they have this choir singing. And this guy was singing that song, and it looked like they were in a church atmosphere. And everybody he was like just singing so hard. We fall down, but we get up. And yes, we may do this. And all the Christians just start crying. He got so into that song, they start swaying back and forth and praising the Lord. And I'm like, this is evil.
I don't know.
This is like justifying sin. If God is with you, truly with you, you are born again of his nature. He is your father. He is God. He made you and everything else. Why would you fall down? What kind of God that would bring you into his nature and then you fall down. I mean, isn't God a little more stronger than that?
Yeah, but the flesh isn't.
Right, but the flesh is now subject to the spirit.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go with it anymore because greater is he that's in you than he that's in the flesh. You know what I mean?
Except sometimes
It's
that balance becomes unbalanced in people.
not if you've been born again of the new nature. There's no such thing as unbalanced. That power that's in you is greater than the temptation of the devil. Because that's all the flesh is getting, the temptation of the devil, of the earth, of the world around it. And so now that you have this new spirit, the greater power that's in you, your flesh can't make you do anything. Because now you can see, you're separated from it, you're not of it. Great is he. So you don't give into that. That's another lie that's been told to the Christians. That even though you're born again, the flesh is weak. So it justifies sin. So we fall down, we get up, and everybody sway and sing and cry about it. And I can imagine God getting up on Sunday mornings, turning on BET, telling Jesus to run down to Coffee Bean and get a Cafe Mocha. You know, he coming back, and they turn on that TV, and everybody's swaying, talking about we fall down, but we get up. They're like, what? And Jesus said to his father, why did you send me down there? They didn't get it. They missed it. You don't fall down if Christ, if God is carrying you. The only way you're falling down because you're not with God. That's anybody that's falling down, you're of your father, the devil.
So like if you slip and you swear, so that means that spirit isn't in you?
It's not a sin to swear.
Okay, like you say SHIT or whatever.
Right. No, you shouldn't be saying it. I would recommend it. You speak from the heart, you should speak love. But if you know, like you wake up and your husband telling you, honey, bring me some coffee, and you say, you know, whatever, that's not a sin. The sin is hating it, the hatred in your heart. So you're speaking from your heart. The sin is not the cigarette that you smoke. The sin is the reason that you're smoking a cigarette, to keep from facing yourself, and keep from overcoming that nature which is of the devil. You're hiding. So the sin is the hatred in your heart that separates you from God. And then you do all this other stuff because you don't want to face yourself. But people have been told the sin is the alcohol. I know God in my life because I overcame alcohol. Yeah, but you drink now, you know, or you're a sex addict, or you're a whatever
You
addict.
replace it for another addiction.
Yeah, because you have not gotten over that ego nature which is of the devil. So when somebody testifies that God saved them, and the evidence is they don't smoke anymore, you tell them, get behind me, Satan.
Unless they don't replace it with anything but God.
But they're not going to tell you then that the evidence is that God, that I stopped smoking. They're going to give you the spiritual evidence, what happened in their heart.
Right.
They had this new change in life, a new nature. They can now see where they were blind before. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the testimony. Not I stopped drinking, sexing, smoking, lying, cheating, and stealing, because all they did went to something else. So, or God bought me a new car. You know, you hear that a lot too. I know I've been born again because God bought me a new car. But yet, as your father, he will add all these things unto you. He will give all your needs to you. But that's not the evidence that you've been born again. I mean, when you testify to someone. Because he loves you, he's going to take care of you. As a matter of fact, when you're born again, you can't even worry about those things anymore. Because he is your father and all your needs are met. But the beauty is you now live from within, from that kingdom of heaven on the inside, instead of from the devil of hell that's in your mind. All right? And before I leave here today, I got to read you about you being of your father, the devil, because people yell at me all the time, say that. They'll say they're of their father God, but they won't say you're of the devil, right? Another deception. Yes, ma'am.
A question I always have was when you read the Bible and it say no man is good.
Right.
Throughout the Bible, it speaks of perfection. So how, if you're not good, how can you be perfect?
Good. Because we're born in sin. We took it on, Adam passed it on to us by his, falling, giving in. And so we inherit that. So our hearts are wicked. And if you want to know if that's true, just look at your own heart. It's amazing how man's heart is wicked. They can lie and don't matter. They can be, and when I say man, I mean mankind, man and woman. So I'm not leaving you out, ladies. I know y'all feeling better, huh? No. But it's amazing how all in the name of Jesus, they can lie to you, cheat on you, backstab, be mean just like that, change personalities, talk about one another rather than going to the person. And yet they think that they're good, but that's a wicked heart. And so no man is good. And it's because we're of the devil. We're not good. But when we recognize that we're no good, that we're not good, and don't be mad about seeing that you're not good and not be in denial about being no good, then God would come and save you from that nature, and he would give you his nature, which is good, but it's still not you, but it's the good that made a home in you, and he lives through you so that you can live of good. But we don't have it within ourselves to be good. And then as you're living this new life, this new source, this new spirit, you're being perfected in life. You're being made whole. You're overcoming. You're seeing things about yourself that you can't change. And you're now able to just automatically overcome those things. So because you're now guided by the spirit of goodness, which is God in us. And you can't take any credit for that because you're no good. We're either one source or the other. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so which are you? Of the devil or of the good?
I'm of the devil.
I can't hear you.
I'm of the devil.
And why do you say that you are?
Because I have wickedness in my heart.
You have what?
I have wickedness in my
I
heart.
was thinking about you over this past week. And do you want me to tell you what I was thinking of, what I thought of you?
Okay.
You scared to hear it? She's going like, okay. Do you want to hear what I was thinking of, what I thought of you?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I was thinking about you, and I was thinking, wow, it's amazing how you love being the way you are. And you get a sense of pride in judging other people around you. It's like, it seemed to feel good to you. And you know how to overcome it. You know what your problem is. You know how to overcome it. You know you need to go to your mother and forgive her. You see that your mother can't help herself. She's a nut case, but she means well. But you won't just go and forgive your mother so you could be free to help these other people that you're coming in contact with. You seem to take more joy from seeing how they're wrong and judging them for it than overcoming. So, because God put all of us in an environment where we can help others. We don't need a platform. We don't need a TV show or radio show or this. We're always around people who need Christ, who need love. But you won't let go of that. And you know, we talked about it, everything, but you won't let go. Why is that? Am I wrong, first of all?
No, you're not wrong. Actually,
And so what's up with you?
I don't know how to let go. Like,
You do.
how?
What part of letting go you don't understand yet? Maybe you don't. What is that you don't understand about forgiving? Because that's where your trauma is, with your mother. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Am I right about that?
that's true.
And what's true about that? How do you know your problem with your mother first?
Because I can sense other people that's like her and I can't stand them. See, me and
Yeah.
her is like a love-hate relationship, but when I see it in somebody else, I don't know, I just hate them.
Yeah. But you're just like your mother, though. Because you become like what you hate. So you are your mother. You're recreating her image, so you're hating yourself too.
That's probably true.
No, it is true. You hate your mother because she's so mean and angry, resentful, right? Judgmental. I can't hear you.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, and so you're mean and angry and judgmental too, right?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
No, a little louder. I can't hear you. Tell me about you the way you tell me about other people. I can hear you real clear when you talk about other folks. Is that true about you?
I am.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
So you're just like your mother, and by you being mean and angry and resentful, you're out there judging other people in the same manner your mother judged, right? I can't hear you.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you stop judging your mother so you can stop judging yourself so you can go free? Can you help yourself being that way?
No.
You cannot help yourself, right? What, do you think your mother can help herself?
No, she can't.
She cannot?
No.
Do you truly realize that?
I truly realize that.
So why don't you let it go then?
I was trying to let it go. I don't know how to let it go. I mean,
I just told you how. You see that you become like your mother, and you don't want to be that way.
I'm seeing that.
And then you're doing to others exactly what she does to you and others. And you don't want to be that way. And then the people you're judging don't want to be the way that they are. So if you can see that, of myself, I can do nothing, I can't help myself, why don't you just kind of relax and let it go? And just relax and it'll fade away.
I've been doing that.
I'm sorry?
I've been doing that.
So next time you're around your mother and that anger come up inside about her, just let yourself feel it and know that it's wrong, and God will do the rest.
I haven't been feeling anger about her.
I'm sorry?
When I'm around her now, I haven't really been feeling anger.
What do you feel?
I don't really feel anything. Like, tell you the truth, I've been slowly loving her. Like, I'm more hugger, so
Good.
it's not the same. It seems like it's dying.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
It's on the way. Well, treat yourself the same way in others. So when you see the flaws in others, instead of judging them, just observe yourself, this thing inside wanting to judge them, and just let it pass, and then you be honest and fair with the person. Don't mock them or judge them. Just tell them the truth, if you see the truth. And then as you're giving out that kind of love, then God is changing your life as well. Because what you're putting out is coming back on you. That makes sense? But you got to get serious about your life, because tomorrow is not promised to you. Really, you don't put, all you have is this very moment. There is no future. There is no past. But angry people are made to believe that they have another chance tomorrow. In reality, there is no tomorrow. It's only in the mind of angry people that they have tomorrow. It doesn't exist. You can't touch it, you can't see it. All you see is here. That's all that exists. So you need to take advantage of this moment and let that stuff go. What do you think?
I think you're right.
All right, so you still like me?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
All right. So am I right in what I was thinking concerning you?
Yeah, I do get a joy out of it, yes.
I'm sorry? Yeah, you come to me with big smile. Oh, I saw this lady last week and she was so mean. And I just judged her. I told her off. I just let her have it, all in the name of Jesus. I know I'm wrong.
I'm not saying in the name of Jesus.
No. I just can't help it.
That's horrible.
But that's you, right? See how I look?
Yeah.
So just like you're judging those people who look weird to you, you're being judged for looking weird to someone else. Except I don't judge you. My heart goes out to you. Because people who judge others are not happy people. You can't be happy playing God. But you got to let that go. So you don't keep putting it off. All right? Kelly, what's on your mind? You sitting there looking crazy too. What's on your mind?
Wow. I think the same thing. Like, I know that when I'm judging people, and I know it's not making me a happy person.
Yeah.
I know I'm becoming like my mother, and
You what?
I know I'm becoming like my mother when I do things like that.
Yeah. How do you feel about seeing that about yourself?
I've seen it before. I don't feel that much about it right now.
Oh, okay.
I feel like just kind of this like vague despair, like depression about it. Like,
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's because you're judging it. Don't judge it as right or wrong. Just see it.
Yeah.
Don't play God. One thing the devil loves for people to do is to judge. Judge yourself, judge others, because he knows as long as you're doing that, you're playing God and he is your God. Ed, come and read something for me real fast. We're running out of time. That make sense, Kelly?
Yeah.
Just see yourself for what you are. Know you're no good. Know that, yes, I have this stuff, but no big deal. Don't make a big deal out of it, but you're not in denial about it.
Right.
All right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm so sorry I'm running out of time. I had so much more to share with you. I'm going to have Ed, the white guy, since black people don't know how to read. Am I right about that?
No.
No.
Rhonda read couple 2 weeks ago.
Did she read well?
She did.
Oh, she did?
She did, very
She
well.
lives in the suburbs, though. I wanted to read this thing about you being of your father, the devil. This is when in John, and you can read about and get the depths of it later, chapter 8, verse 42 through 47, of your father, the devil. Let me see, is that right? Yes, Jesse. 42 to 47. Okay, read that for me, clear and loud, but not too loud. Starting from here to there.
If God were your father, you would love me, since I have my origin in God and have come from him. I did not come of my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? Because you cannot bear to listen to my words. You are from your father, the devil, and you prefer to do what your father wants. He was a murderer from the start. He was never grounded in the truth. There is no truth in him at all. When he lies, he is speaking true to his nature, because he is a liar and the father of lies. But it is because I speak the truth that you do not believe me. Can any of you convict me of sin? If I speak the truth, why do you not believe me? Whoever comes from God listens to the words of God. The reason why you do not listen is that you are not from God.
And that's what's wrong with the world today, is that most people are of their father, the devil. There is no truth in them. And when you are born again and you're coming from truth and love truth and you speak that truth, they can't handle it because there is no truth in them. That's why they say you hate women, you hate men, you hate gays, you hate this, you hate that, because there is no truth in them. They live of their father, the devil, which is a spirit of lies. People love lies. In the movie that I was watching, lies is are very seductive. You know, it's good. It's good for your flesh. You know, for the world around you.
It's slavery. It's slavery because every other way in life without Christ, it's slavery.
Yes,
There's no
ma'am.
freedom without Christ.
And when you say without Christ, I don't mean just learning the Bible about Christ.
You know, the Spirit.
I don't mean just going to church talking about Christ. I'm talking about believing in the Son so you can believe back into the Father. I'm talking about that new nature that is of truth and of love, and find a resting place in that truth, have perfect peace in that truth, and is not afraid to tell the truth. And they tell the truth without judging, meaning that you don't feel anything about the person that you're telling the truth to. You're not putting them down. You're not trying to hurt them. You're trying to set them free with truth. We don't have that for the most part in the world today. So when they call you woman hater, man hater, white hater, black hater, and all that, they don't have the truth in them. They're of their father, the devil, even if they do go to church and read the Bible. Because you can read the Bible and be deceived about yourself too. You can quote scriptures until the cows come home and not be born again. You still have that angry nature. And in closing, if you want to overcome that, you got to look at yourself and be honest about self. And it's going to cause you to realize that you can't change yourself. So when you realize that, you're not going to judge yourself either way. You're not going to make a decision about good, and you're not going to make a decision about evil. You're going to become the observer, which is the mind of God, and He would do the work for you. It's like you become free, carefree. And God, because you see, most people don't see that our battle is a spiritual battle. Our battle, everything we do in life is spiritual, and people don't see that it's spiritual. I spoke at a event one day last week, and the question was asked to me. The person said to me, well, it's really nice that we have blacks and women running for office now in politics. We have a black president, now women are running. And I said to him, well, you're making a big mistake. I don't want people to run just because they're male or female, black or white. I want a righteous person to run, a person who loved what's right. Because we can't be like the godless people, get into this thing, we got to have a man, we got to have a woman, we got to have a color, we got to have a black. We need to have, this is the greatest country in the world, given to us by God. We need to have a spiritual man guiding this country. a man who loved what's right with all his heart, soul, and might. Get a copy of my Be Still and Know CD, and it'll show you what to do, all right? And support us. We need your financial support as well. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you guys, too, for being here.
For more information or to purchase a copy of this show, visit us on the web at www.bondinfo.org or call 1-800-411-BOND.